All right, Miles, let's talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes here for a little bit. Look, this is a team, we've talked about it a lot. They are as talented as they come. They've done great in the recruiting game. They, of course, have a lot of great guys returning. Ryan Day's done a great job adding some key guys to the coaching staff. But the most important position for the Buckeyes, and frankly, every single college football team, is the quarterback position. And we've got an exciting update at that quarterback position specifically that I think Buckeyes fans will really like to learn more about.
Yeah, Nick, I think this video is going to be great for the Buckeyes faithful, and they are some of the most loyal and committed fans that I know. And when you're this good, Nick, it's really hard to not be this loyal to the Buckeyes because they are contenders year in and year out. But they also know this team better than anybody. They know the ins and outs, and that's why today in the comments below, we want to hear your takes on the Buckeyes that no one else sees. What are the takes the loyal Buckeyes fans can see that nobody else is picking up on? Let us know in the comments below, and we're going to pick some of our favorites and share them in our next Buckeyes video. But Nick, nonetheless, let's get into it. What is this great QB news that the Buckeyes have going on?
Yeah, so obviously the big issue for Ohio State is who is going to replace CJ Stroud. And there's two guys at the top of the list. Of course, there's Kyle McCord, and of course, there's Devin Brown. Devin Brown, unfortunately, was dealing with an injury that cut his spring ball short. But we've got a great report. I think USA Today found this out first that really shows that Brown is back into the fold and this quarterback competition is back into full swing. Miles, if you throw out the report, I will read from it. Again, this is from USA Today. Ohio State quarterback Devin Brown has resumed throwing after he underwent surgery last month to repair a fractured right pinky finger. Quarterbacks coach Corey Dennis said Tuesday, quote, "He's doing good," Dennis said. "He's healthy." The procedure on his finger had been expected to sideline Brown, a right-handed passer, for about a month, a stretch of time that included the final week of spring practice and the annual spring game. It put a pause on the Buckeyes' ongoing quarterback competition as the redshirt freshman has been battling with Kyle McCord to succeed CJ Stroud behind center. All right, this is obviously very important that he's back at throwing and he seems to be 100% healthy. And look, there was no serious concern that he would have any long-term limitations and it would affect his availability for a training camp or God forbid, the regular season. But you never really know, right? It's obviously anything to do with the throwing hand, even though if it's throwing pinky, there's obviously going to be some red flags like, hey, listen, is something going to feel off? Is his timing going to be off? And it looks like he's well on the road to recovery. He's 100% healthy. He's back throwing. That's great news for the Ohio State Buckeyes because they need both guys, McCord and Brown, 100% healthy, 100% ready to go pretty much the entire summer. Because one of the things that people don't necessarily know about college football, even though spring ball is done over the summer, and this is when I was playing college football, again, small school, not Ohio State, completely different dynamic. But throughout the entire summer practice, even when you're lifting weights and running sprints, there are periods where on your own, no coaches, you go through essentially 7-on-7 kind of practices. That's what these programs do. That's what they do all the time. So even though it's not coach organized, you better believe McCord and Brown are getting their reps in with the wide receivers, working on their games, trying to get ready for training camp and, of course, the fall. So the fact that Brown is healthy right now will mean he'll be ready to go for training camp and ready to go for all summer as they work to get their timing with the receivers, which means when it comes time for the quarterback battle to really heat up towards the second half of training camp, both guys are going to be at full strength, and the Buckeyes are going to have a strong chance to pick who will be their number one signal caller into the 2023 regular season, which will be the most important decision they'll obviously make all year long. So I think because of that, this is great news for the Buckeyes. Both quarterbacks will be healthy. They'll have all summer to get their timing right and in time to prepare for the ultimate competition at training camp. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this battle and, of course, the health of Devin Brown and everything it means for the Ohio State program.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is big for the Buckeyes. You want this guy to come back because coming out of spring training into the spring game where inevitably he was having to miss this, I think that is really important because Brown was neck and neck with McCord during spring ball. No one had really solidified themselves. And if I'm quite honest, Nick, 18 of 34, like pretty much a 50% completion rating through the spring game for 184 and a touchdown. Not necessarily world-beating stats by McCord in this game. So it shows that there needs to be a quarterback competition still. These guys are too close and too good to have to pick one so quickly. I think, as the coaches say, is this going to go deep into preseason training camp all the way through August. There is no clear winner yet. So I am glad that Brown is back and throwing the ball so we can get back into this competition and we can see truly who's going to be the best fit for this team. Because we can say, all right, maybe, we go focus on running the ball. That might suit a little bit better for a team that isn't going to be as heavily pass focused if they're under a different style of quarterback like a guy like McCord. But that's not the case, Nick. They got Marvin Harrison Jr., the best wide receiver in, I might say, ever in college football. He's one of the most prototypical prospects we have seen in a long, long time. So you want to be slinging the rock 100 times out of 100 if possible. Guy like Brown can bring that to the table. So I want to see these guys compete. I want the best quarterback at the helm of this team because, quite frankly, there is too much talent on this roster to squander the position. So let's go through the rest of this training camp this offseason, put everybody under a microscope, and make sure that they get it right, Nick. And I'm glad he's back throwing the ball so that we can give him a proper evaluation, because I think that this guy has a lot of talent coming out of high school. This guy was a big-time recruit, 4-star recruit, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, one of the best players in all of Utah. So I think that this could be a really big deal for the Buckeyes, and I think Brown could potentially be their answer if he pans out.
And let's not forget, this is going to be good for McCord as well, right? Because one of the things you don't want to do is have a guy who isn't ready to start to be handed the starting position and go through all those bumps and bruises if the team underperforms. Again, if he's not ready, if Brown actually is the better guy. So making sure that Brown is healthy and ready to go and will compete all summer and all training camp gives McCord the best opportunity to compete as well and see where he actually shakes out instead of just being handed the starting position. So obviously it's good for the Buckeyes that the quarterback in terms of Brown is healthy. Both are now healthy. It's good for Devin Brown. Obviously he's going to be ready to compete and get ready all summer. And it's also good for McCord because it lets him evaluate and continue to work on his game without just being shoved into the starting role without actually earning it yet. So I think no matter how you look at it, this is great news for the Ohio State Buckeyes program.